Well, hello everyone. This is Randy, aka Jedi One to some. This is the first recognized Ramblin' Randy's report, and as you'll see, the name will be very apropos later. And it is Tuesday, July the 15th. The year is 2014 of our Lord, and I'm representing FIT, the financial intel team that you see in front of you on your screen. Quite a wide awakening today. Today has been very a mixture between extremely dense or thick and extremely light beyond compare. I mean, it's been an interesting day. Now, the reason I bring these out and I address the name Ramblin' Randy's report is that that's going to be my contribution to FIT, to the financial intel team. There will be other people that will have their input, their ability to express what they're all about. I cannot wait to sit in on some of those and to listen to things just like this. And we fill up YouTube or whatever you use, Vimeo or private viewing or whatever. We fill this thing up with people speaking about their interests, their concerns, their whatever, and they draw people to them by attraction. And I will come running because we have a lot of talent here already, and our numbers are very minuscule. But the talent that this is already seen and it has been exposed to is enough to cause this to be able to make a major impact. As I will describe, and what I'm doing is I'm describing how I see that by utilizing this particular site and what it has to offer, and the ability for those people to be able to take it as an income stream and invite other people to experience the value that they can receive from this site. This is what I'm doing now. And others will have their own way of going about it. But the one thing that we will all stress is that everybody that becomes familiar or represents the financial intel team, we represent something that we feel is going to be extremely needed in the future. That when thing that we all want to know in this fast food type mentality society, we don't know. But we do know that if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, there's a real strong possibility that Donald might be near. And so we are being rational in a very irrational and almost, well, it's surreal is the only way that it can be described. And again, a qualification or a preface to this is that this is the way that I'm describing my contribution to FIT. But one thing again that we'll have in common is that we feel that due to the current situation, it's one of the first things that we recognize is the fact that we could be a victim of automation because of the sheer way technology is advancing. Jobs that are shipped overseas so that we can pay less here, and we're losing jobs because we're and a number of things, and also just the sheer fact of that we are a carbon-based being, and they have, at least this point, we have been programmed that our span here of existence is finite. In other words, some of us and I don't like that us business. That's starting to slip into my. That's one of the things that happens is forget that. There are those that believe that because of the time spent here on the planet that you are supposed to expire at a certain time. We study all sorts of things far beyond what we offer to as our membership per month. And really, this is a 30-day course to see if any of this that I'm discussing you find to be of like mind with. And so, those that have like mind to what I'm going to be going over this evening, you might gravitate to one of my calls like this, and or we will be going through a means by which to let everyone know who would be the next to step up and do something like this, and we go and support that person, and then it just grows from there. And then we fill YouTube up, and you go in there, and fit is everywhere, and everybody has smiles on their faces. Grandiose? I don't think so, because I'm thinking I can see it. It's just a matter of if I do it. That's what it comes down to, really. I'm speaking first person because I'm showing this to you the way that I'm going to present it, and I'm presenting it to you. And if you're listening to this and it sounds a little different because you have been involved for a while, this is what we're teaching. We're teaching people the basics to go out there and be able to deliver to other people and demonstrate your own individual worth and value. When someone sees that you have worth and value, and we're not talking about demonstrating that with money, but that what you have inside of you, whatever that may be that's elusive to them, that you're able to sustain yourself, people will want to know. It's human nature. And so in order to even, if that didn't strike you of an interest about what we do here, you will need to have basic understanding of the way that this internet and social media works. I'm just telling you that right now. Unless you have already been involved for quite a while and you're over in the onion. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're not there yet. Or Thor. This is just going to teach you the basics on when someone says, "Didn't you read my post in Facebook?" And you were probably, could be, if you're not as unaware of Facebook as I was just a short while ago, I might have thought you meant, was there some sort of sign on a fence post? So there are those of us out there, and if you're one of them, now you found home and someone who will show you exactly what those things mean, so that if you find yourself falling prey to automation, jobs being shipped overseas, too far up the ladder of life, if the company that you're working for, your own company, goes under, to be marketable at a position or to maintain a lifestyle that you would like. These are things that you're going to need, these basic little things, and the value of those far exceeds $35 because you'll be being trained and tutored by the very person, like myself, that's talking to you about fit. And what that means is that we'll give a fair exchange of value. That will be a fair exchange of value. The person who is of interest and sees that they need to understand these things is going to be paying a subscription fee for 1 month, and $30 of that's going to go to that person who's talking to them, which means now we have a fair exchange of value, meaning that the person receiving is going to then in turn put forth worth in the manner of educating that person up to where they're at the basic levels of these things described. If the individual who is being called on to tutor does not have the level of expertise or knowledge in any one of these areas, then the person that brought them in would also help them get those things answered, so that within that first 30-day period everybody gets a fair exchange of value. That's just a little prefacing all this, and there's a little statement here that people would check before they even enter the the FIT program. Those that do want to continue on, what we call like a little alumni, we have an affiliate program that you can ask your inviter, or I will show any of those people that I have personally invited. I'll show you that, and it'll show you exactly how that program, if you see that teaching people and also all of the other side benefits, like all members would have access to these ramblings. They would have access, and these ramblings would be in a secure environment, as would the other people's be in a secure environment, and that would be things that you would want to be delivered just to our community, and other things we can put out as I do on YouTube for the public. But those are things also that we'll talk about. So this is self-explanatory here, and if you're interested on how that affiliate program works, then you can contact me or at randym0123@gmail. And you can also, if you're not already subscribed and someone has invited you to listen to my call, be sure and use their inviter code. Make sure that they give you their link so that they can receive credit, because the whole thing is designed for the sole purpose, not of any one individual having one-upsmanship or having an advantage over the next, everybody's par, is that it's designed to give back to those people who already most likely are in need, and to do that very quickly. That's the whole preface of this. Now, what is Harry Reid coming in from out of the blue? Is that wild? Is that kind of like a omen or something? Harry, I'll get with you in just a minute. Goodness gracious me. And so that I guess Harry was getting me off that, and I'm going to get into now what my area, what motivates me, why I'm involved with FIT, and what the truth that I have discovered or become aware of. I'm going to get into that part, because that's all that I can actually share is my truth. Now, over here on Facebook, I tell you, this whole thing right here is we are a microcosm, and I'm talking about FIT now, because I want y'all to understand from this point forward, it may get a little bit out there in thinking, but this is my truth. And again, there will be in the future many places that we can go and listen to other people, and why they are involved with FIT. So I look at things myself because the fact that I want to win. I want my country back, and this is a way that we can do that, and by becoming aware of what's actually taking place, and just the simple fact of being aware or exposed to it could cause someone to be wake up enough to start looking, and there is when change can be made, when people start thinking in the right direction. Right now we're being literally guided and programmed and pulled like a bull with a ring in its nose in a direction, because people simply do not understand what's happening. So we're waking people up. At least that's what my motivation is. Just like Harry Reid, you know, this is today on C-SPAN, birth control and health care. Now this guy here
would be an aircraft carrier and a large mission accomplished sign hanging in the background. We all remember that. Remember? That was President Bush declaring the war in Iraq.
It is getting to the point, let me tell you something, that there is a real gray area between what either side of the aisle, so to speak, has to say. Have you noticed that? And you know, I can't just sit here and say every one of them are in on the deal, they're in on the fix, but goodness gracious me, if we're sitting out here right now and we're coming to at least where there is a gathering of two or more people that are kind of saying, hey, it looks this way, and it's gathering in numbers, it's saying, yeah, we think so too, then let's go back to the duck. And then you have to stop and think, surely these people aren't that big of idiots. You know what I'm saying? Now, I might run a little long. I'm just going to tell you because this is the first Ramblin' Randy, and you're going to see. But you don't have to listen to these things all at the same time, but that's just the way it is. So, this is what I see, and I'm giving people in a nutshell, kinda. Even if you just catch one of these ramblings every now and then, it doesn't really matter where you get on the elevator or get off. It's going to be basically about the same thing. I'm going to go over that first little thing about what we do, and then we'll get right into it from now on. Because I have not got time to waste. This stuff right here's happening in our country. Little Linda Ann, she knows what's going on, and that's a whole demographic out there that's not caught up in having to hold their hand and everything about this MLM business and being right, or all that stuff. Goodness gracious me! Let me tell you, we got problems out there, and if people find themselves out of a job or needing money, and this stuff starts really getting bad, you're going to wish you was in the river with us. I'm not kidding you. No matter what you think about it right now, and you can go right over here to Truth Frequency Radio, and they're talking about the same thing, and this is live.
To save my life. So about a week ago, I said, you know what? Let me attempt to rewrite what he had wrote. I forgot everything. And within 10 minutes, I wrote out I took the first verse, and let me say what the first verse comes out to be. Now, most of us should know that the first verse in the scriptures, the Bible that we know, says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Mm-hmm. Now, when you go into the concordance and you take the key words, you don't translate in the or and. You don't need to translate those. You take beginning, God created heavens and earth. You take those 5 words. Now, this is what it should have translated into, and it's going to open your eyes because you said some things tonight which you'll see. Well, here it goes. In the concealed vanishing point, time out of mind without end. God, cut down, selected, and dispatched the higher ether where the celestial bodies revolve in wilderness world. Now, that's the first verse in the scriptures which he
Oh my goodness. Okay, now you see let me tell you what we got going on here. Okay? Literally, we are going through a period of time here as upright Homo sapiens on the blue planet where information is we're being bombarded with information at absolutely, literally, the term is correct, warp speed. The speed of light. And we were old machines that needed to be upgraded, and we're getting hit with this stuff, and it's intentional. And what's happening, at least from my vantage point, I can only deduce down to this, and I believe this to be the case, is that whatever we're thinking about, people, we're creating. There was a movie called The Sphere, like a round sphere. Dustin Hoffman's in there. You need to check it out. Is that you help me here now, because I'm building my crew. Love to have you as one of them. If you're inactive, get active. I need to communicate with you. Now you stop and think about this. All these things that we've been hearing and what have you, things of the little signs and all this coming together, we got to stop and start putting some merit into that. And everything that I can see, the only way that I can even rationalize thought processes, and I'm not putting that in it at any way down, is that it doesn't make any difference what you're thinking about. Let me repeat this. It doesn't really make any difference what you're thinking about if you share those thoughts with someone else. Your original thoughts, I don't care how way out there they are, you heard that. And if someone else locks step with you and starts coming your way with that thought process, and you get 3 or 4 more, you get 10 or 20 more, before you know it, you got your whole bunch of people that are talking about that first weird thought that you had. And the next thing you know, this thing starts going out there, and back in the days, the viralness was by horse or camelback. So but they were still able to get that original thought process out to we're experiencing it here today. Can you say amen? Okay. And it was somebody's original thought process. That is the only logical way to deduce it. You can sit there, you can think about it till you're blue in the face, but that's a fact. And you can put your head around that if you stop and think about it. So, with that said, and what we just heard, and I'm telling you that I hear things like there's certain people inside of the Beltway that have tails, lizard tails. Now, some of you are going, Randy, they do, and that's okay. That's all right. It's just supporting the fact that if there's those out there that are lockstep and fall into harmony with these, which I'm not saying, because I sure don't want the lizard people mad at me for crying out loud. But if there's people out there that have got into a larger community, social network, hear me, how all this is going to come together. If there's enough of them out there doing that, and let's just throw in right here, and they don't have the ability to fund themselves properly, or they would have, we might be all giving birth to babies with lizard tails. I don't know. I'm just telling you, I'm going to stop right there. But so, all right, so we have these various different thought processes, and there's people starting to latch their wagon on those stars, and we start hearing more and more and more about it, and before you know it, they're out there in the middle of nowhere, and people are starting to buy little dolls made out of whatever that thought, that kind of thing. It gets viral. We're watching this, people, take place in the form of fads that come and go. It's where your attention flows, energy goes, and that's the seed of manifestation. When we start thinking about something, stuff moves. And if someone can get you focused on any one thing that you happen to know that will be able to pull two or more where they are gathered, then you may be able to pull something wild off. And a lot of these places that I visit, sure enough, have a lot of support to the fact of we sure are being given a lot of information that seems to be leaning in a direction, if after you study it a while. Resistance Roundtable, okay, because I always reference, as a matter of fact, on my Facebook is the Cecil Rhodes Roundtable, little shield looking thing. But all these things, you can start putting a thread together. Here's knowledge coming in, people. This is value and worth that you're hearing. And you start from listening to some of us talking like this, and we get in a little deeper into some of these topics. Now this probably is interesting. Let's just check this out. Oh, we have a video. Now, I see someone unclad. Should we go for it? Let's do it.
Hello folks, this is Justin Bryant from the Ottawa Expositor. This 15th of July of 2014, and hope everything is going well with you guys. And basically just wanted to bring up this right here. Now this is an article from Russia Today, and that is exactly what it sounds. It is state Russian media that is no different than BBC or anything like that, so don't get me wrong, this is not where I get my news sources from. But I did see this pop up in one of my social media, and as you see here, the rich are even richer. ECB economist unveils new global inequality figures. And I mean, you think, I mean, this comes as no surprise to many of the people.
So that wasn't that terribly interesting to me, to tell you the truth, but it was there. And so we research these things, and one of the beauties of people like myself that sit and do these things is when I do have a little clip like this that I'm doing now, you get to catch the highlights. But again, it doesn't make any difference if you come in on Monday or you come in on Friday or Sunday to catch up, it's all going to be about basically about the same. This is probably one of the most bizarre things that is ever, along with what's happening in the Ukraine. If you really knew what was going on with this cat here in the Ukraine, and over in Palestine, you would, if you really looked at it, you have to have open eyes, open mind to do this, or because it's going to be in conflict with just about everything that you possibly held to be sacred, really. But we have to look at it and vet it with a clear mind, and which is hard to do. And so, in order to do this and do it effectively, a person needs to be able to take care of life here while they're alive and what have you, and be able to contribute to this. And that's what we have the fit team for. And it can, if you see what we're doing, see how you can use it, it will cause you to be able to sit and do research and or whatever you choose that causes you to become more of what you want to be truly inside. That's a good way of describing it. But there is no question whatsoever that something that I just remembered about here with fit, and this is, I'm going to mix a little bit together here on this call, because I want y'all to think about something with me. When I use that word think about something, or that phrase, that's a ears up. Not in any way saying that we would be deviating from our current approach, meaning the backbone and theme of what we're doing now. Do not take what I'm fixing to say in any way as there's going to be action taken in this direction, but listen to this. We could move in this and morph into this, and I think it is absolutely unbelievable as far as potential goes. People always say various things. If you've heard me say, what's the product? What are you selling? And every time you hear something that becomes annoying, at least for me, somewhere down inside there is a lesson or a blessing. And you have to be able to accept it when it comes your way. And so when you get to the point to where you recognize that what we're actually doing is monetizing our actual, or actually being able to show your worth in who you actually are, that is a hard mental shift of where one's value is stored. And this can be done, people. And every one of y'all have moved me this direction, because I can see that this is a microcosm right here of Peyton Place. There's no denying that whatsoever. It's a microcosm of what's actually taking place in the real world, and we have the ability right now, we have the ability to be able to see this happening and learn from what we're falling into, the patterns that we all fall into, myself including, first person. This is a place that demonstrates where we're headed as we're merging with machine. And then so timely, someone sent me this today. It was Bob sent me this. Someone sent this to me. Listen to this. It came today in the midst of all of this technology.
I have 422 friends, yet I'm lonely. I speak to all of them every day, yet none of them really know me. The problem I have sits in the spaces between looking into their eyes or at a name on a screen. I took a step back and opened my eyes. I looked around and realised that this media we call social is anything but when we open our computers and it's our doors we shut. All this technology we have, it's just an illusion. Community, companionship, a sense of inclusion. Yet when you step away from this device of delusion, you awaken to see a world of confusion. A world where we're slaves to the technology we mastered, where information gets sold by some rich, greedy bastard. A world of self-interest, self-image, self-promotion, where we all share our best bits but leave out the emotion. We're at our most happy with an experience we share, but is it the same if no one is there? Be there for your friends and they'll be there too, but no one will be if a group message will do. We edit and exaggerate, crave adulation. We pretend not to notice the social isolation. We put our words into order until our lives are glistening. We don't even know if anyone is listening. Being alone isn't a problem. Let me just emphasise, if you read a book, paint a picture, or do some exercise, you're being productive and present, not reserved and recluse. You're being awake and attentive and putting your time to good use. So when you're in public and you start to feel alone, put your hands behind your head, step away from the phone. You don't need to stare at your menu or at your contact list. Just talk to one another. Learn to coexist. I can't stand to hear the silence of a busy commuter train where no one wants to talk through the fear of looking insane. We're becoming unsocial. It no longer satisfies to engage with one another and look into someone's eyes. We're surrounded by children who, since they were born, have watched us living like robots and think it's the norm. It's not very likely you'll make world's greatest dad if you can't entertain a child without using an iPad. When I was a child, I'd never be home. Be out with my friends on our bikes, we would roam. I'd wear holes in my trainers and graze up my knees. We'd build our own clubhouse high up in the trees. Now the park's so quiet it gives me a chill. See no children outside and the swings hanging still. There's no skipping, no hopscotch, no church and no steeple. We're a generation of idiots, smartphones and dumb people. So look up from your phone, shut down the display. Take in your surroundings, make the most of today. Just one real connection is all it can take to show you the difference that being there can make. Be there in the moment that she gives you the look that you remember forever as when love overtook. The time she first holds your hand or first kiss your lips. The time you first disagree but still love her to bits. The time you don't have to tell hundreds of what you've just done because you want to share this moment with just this one. The time you'll sell your computer so you can buy a ring for the girl of your dreams who is now the real thing. The time you want to start a family, and the moment when you first hold your little girl and get to fall in love again. The time she keeps you up at night and all you want is rest, and the time you wipe away the tears as your baby flees the nest. The time your baby girl returns with a boy for you to hold, and the time he calls you granddad and makes you feel real old. The time you take in all you've made just by giving life attention, and how you're glad you didn't waste it by looking down at some invention. The time you hold your wife's hand, sit down beside her bed, you tell her that you love her, lay a kiss upon her head. She then whispers to you quietly, as her heart gives a final beat, that she's lucky she got stopped by that lost boy in the street. But none of these times ever happened. You never had any of this. When you're too busy looking down, you don't see the chances you miss. So look up from your phone, shut down those displays. We have a finite existence, a set number of days. Don't waste your life getting caught in the net, as when the end comes, nothing's worse than regret. I am guilty too of being part of this machine, this digital world we are heard but not seen, where we type as we talk and we read as we chat, where we spend hours together without making eye contact. So don't give in to a life where you follow the hype. Give people your love, don't give them your like. Disconnect from the need to be heard and defined. Go out into the world, leave distractions behind. Look up from your phone, shut down that display. Stop watching this video, live life the real way.
Well, that's a little different, isn't it? Sure is. I know I'm running long here. I'll try to wrap up. Quite moving. Might just leave that as our meditational thought. And that's something that we do here, by the way. It's something that I'm going to promote. And matter of fact, I'm not going to bypass it. But before I get there, I do want to say that just the seeing this from someone that sent it to me, it got me to thinking. And this again is what I was going to reference earlier about me not taking immediate action. Don't think that we're changing, but listen to this concept and please think about it, because that's how things become a reality if someone harmonizes with it. The problems that people have accepting nowadays is the fact that they are becoming, where they realize they're not, more perceptive to the allure of deceit. And it's happening more so pronouncedly, it seems. It's becoming more so pronounced, it seems, here as of late. And I have privy, because of what I do, is to be able to be exposed to the things that are happening out there, the various different little projects and what have you that people are doing. And there is a strange energy about, and I want to know if you feel it as well. And again, my email address is randym0123 @gmail.com. randym0, the numerical 0123 @gmail.com. Is that there are a lot of deals out there, but they are all seeming to me, for the pulse that I'm feeling, everybody is a little bit more so aware of what they're getting involved with, I feel like. In that, my goodness gracious, with the speed of information now and the way things get around, it is a twinkling of an eye, and the flaws are exacerbated so much that even an entity or a company trying to do the right thing, it just explodes. And it's done by the very people that are wanting it to succeed. So how do you overcome that and still be able to get those people that you need to rise up and become aware and be funded? How do you get over that? An interesting way was because of that movie that we just finished watching there. It came out of this, is that we all have value inside. How do we market ourselves in the future if that's all that we have to offer? Is literally, if your survival would be based on the type of person that you are inside. How could you do that? And we're at the cusp. We're right at the apex of being able to do that, whether you realize it or not. In that, as I was watching this thought came to my mind, is that, again, we're not changing anything. I'd just like for you to think about this. If there was a vehicle, a platform, or whatever, that's us, that we could potentially morph into if enough people are thinking about it. That's what I'm trying to do here. Where what you put in monthly, you yourself would have to give away a percentage of that in one of our forums. You would be, in order for you to participate and be qualified, you would have to give away a certain percentage of that in one of our forums, or in some place that you gain something of value. It could be any of these mediums, and you saw a designator or a username of a fit member, you would have a certain amount of, I don't want to say mandatory, acknowledging that person's value but it would be that you would have an amount that you would have to give away of that tuition or that monthly that you yourself pay, which would also open up the fact of other people, everyone wanting to display truth and value. Now we're getting somewhere. In the chat rooms, it would become very apparent when people were touting for more so than the norm, if you follow me, of their worth. It would be interesting to see how that all panned out. But you could also have social parties, actual gatherings in person, and they could be put on by an individual. That would carry value, would it not? And so I would contribute to someone putting on a little gathering of like-minded people in a venue or place or town or city or village or hut or stop sign or something near me. I love that. I would find value in that, and I would send them value for doing it. If enough people were gathering and you got to talking to people, you could have your little name badge deal with your username on there, and people could see and meet each other, and if they gain value from the conversation, there could be an exchange of medium at any time by either party to the other. Then that would mean that if you truly need or in need, or if you truly want to do extremely well, you would have to be an extremely well person with a lot of value and doing a lot of helping. Interesting concept, isn't it? And that goes right back to making a video like that. If it had that person had a fit number on it, I would contribute. But let's make no mistake about it. The reason that we need that now is because we've got problems. And I'm not drifting from that, because the reason that the whole program, the FIT program, was created is to fund people to where they can then have the wolf off the doorstep and be able to think clearly, because we're all in that boat. Everybody is experiencing a change in the seemingly value of the way things are today as far as living goes. That's all I have for this evening. God bless you. Go out tomorrow, smile at a stranger to make you feel a whole lot better, and you'll never know what you did for that person. This is Randy, aka Jedi One. This is the end of my first acknowledged Ramblin' Randy's report.